Hey everybody, I'm Joey Evans.
And I'm Alex Evans.
And it's been a while since we've done the print and play videos.
I know.
People have asked about these.
Yeah, I know. It's one of my favorites.
And we renamed it because we put in there before games you can print and play and whether or not you should. And that was a very long title.
That's a very long title. That's a lot of words.
Yeah, and then somebody put in the comments like, you should call it print and play or pass.
Print, play, or pass. I like that.
I like that.
Genius.
So that's what we're doing today. And today we have a couple of lighter games for you. And we're going to take a look at them and see if they deserve your printer ink. Okay, the first game we're looking at is Chateau by Rolling Rhino Games. Yes, and this one is, you actually played this first one at the Big Game Bash.
I did, yes.
And I looked over there, and there was a group of like 4 or 5, and then ended up like 10 or 15 playing this game.
I know, yeah. I played it at both play counts.
Yes, and they were having a great time going around, and they ended up just playing it again. I thought, I got to try this game. So, first, before we tell you what we thought about it, let's quickly see how it's played. Okay, so we are set up for a game of Chateau right now. Everyone's going to get a different Chateau, and I'll go into these a bit more in detail in a moment, but all of these are asymmetric and they look different, so everyone's going to get a different page here to be able to build their own Chateau, and they all have different abilities too. And on the back, it kind of tells what Chateau that is based on. So everyone's going to get one of these and a pencil, or in this case, a dry erase, because these have been laminated. And the whole object is to build this Chateau by crossing off all of these different boxes. And the first one to cross off all their boxes wins. Now, once you have your Chateau, each player is going to draw a shape of 5 adjacent spaces of the Chateau of the player to their left. In other words, so 5 spaces, so the person could do one like this to me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just like that. And that kind of jump starts your Chateau building and kind of gets you to have to work around that. The only rules are you cannot cross off a hammer shape. We're going to go into what those mean in a moment. All right, so the gameplay is very simple. Everybody's going to do this all together. One person's going to roll the die, just like this, a 4 and a 5, and then you're going to look down here, and this is what is going to happen. Now, everyone has different kind of abilities for your Chateau. We're going to go to those in a moment. We're going to ignore those for right now. But a 4 and a 5. Meaning we have to do both of these. So I'm going to do a shape from here and a shape from here. Now, the differences in these shapes are the blue ones you can do as many times as you want or as you can. You don't mark these off. But if I were to do this right here, the 4, then that would be right here. I would have to mark it off. And then I'd mark off that square, that shape here, just like this. All right? Now I mark the horseshoe off, and in this case, I would mark this horseshoe, which we'll get to what that means in a moment. Okay, so now let's talk about the 6 here. So the 6 here means that you can take any of these shapes right here and mark off every single instance of that. So let's tell you what, let's get rid of the treasure chest right here. So I mark off that, look around here, and there's a chest here. That's gone, and right here, that is gone. And right here is one more treasure chest right here. All right, so that's what a 6 does. Now, you might notice the one's called a catapult. That works a little bit differently. A catapult, if I were to roll a 1, you're going to mark 1 space on the Chateau board of the person to your left. So in other words, you're going to hand this over, and then that person gets to mark 1 somewhere on your board. And a lot of times they're going to try to do somewhere that's going to kind of mess you up a little bit. The only place you can't is somewhere with a hammer. Okay, so I mentioned the hammers a couple times. Hammers. Now, what are the hammers? So if I were to, later in the game, say I were to do, let's see, this shape. I roll a 3, so I go here, 1, 2, 3. Because I did a hammer, you can see right here, I can then mark off another X anywhere I want. Now, I could even do this hammer and then kind of cascade them like that. But what I probably want to do is take this and mark right here. Okay, so real quick, let's go into some of the, besides the asymmetric kind of shapes here, they also have different abilities here on each one. This one right here, if I get 3 horseshoes, then I get to draw this shape somewhere in my Chateau. That is the ability of this particular Chateau. Other ones, for example, this one right here, if I ever collect this set of all of these different shapes, then I can mark that off and I can place this shape somewhere into my Chateau. Then right here, Chateau de Versailles. I think I pronounced that right. This right here, Chateau, that bonus is it has one more of each item in here. So you'll notice there's a lot more of these that you can mark off with your 6s. And right here, this right here has a different bonus where at any point you can cross off one of these large blue rectangles. And this one right here, these right here, mean when you roll these numbers here, you actually have to cross off the corresponding number there. And then you got Buckingham Palace here, and Buckingham Palace, heard of that one. And at any point when you roll a 2, you can cross off a shape of a 4 instead, and you can do that up to 3 times. Now each of these each have their own different abilities, just like this, and there are quite a few of them, so you can play a large game, and everybody is going to get a different chateau. Keeps going. And the good thing about this too is, on the instructions, it's going to tell you, kind of explain what the chateau bonuses for each one are. And before you start, everybody's going to tell you exactly what their chateau does. You can read that bonus to everybody so they all know what you can do. There's also a map here about where each chateau is in actually where it exists in Europe, which is surprising to me. I had no idea there were this many. Okay, so that is it. The first person to complete their chateau to fill up everything is the winner, and the rest of the people, I guess, count up how many open spaces they have to establish who is second, third, and fourth, and all that. So you keep going till you fill it up. But pretty much that is how you play Chateau. Okay, that's quickly how to play Chateau, and it's a fairly simple game.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I think this is one that is easy to teach.
Yep.
I do like how each castle has its own special ability, but that is also easy to teach too.
Right, and it's a game where pretty much you're you take the role as an architect and you make a blueprint of the chateau.
Yes.
And that is one thing that I like about this is when you first told me about it, I thought, okay, so a lot of the pages are different, and no, every chateau is different.
Yes, which is incredible, by the way. They have all these castles and they're all different.
Right.
Yes.
And working those polyominoes in those different shapes of the castles, it gets unique because certain ones have different rooms. Some are just like wide open areas. Other ones, you're going to have to try to really finagle everything.
Absolutely. Those long, skinny castles are really hard.
Right. And then I like how they made the player interaction as far as I think the catapult is one, right?
I love the catapult. And I also like how you start off by taking it to the person to your left. And they just draw a random shape in the middle. And that's how you start the game. I do like that too. It's a little bit of a curveball right there at the beginning. But then during the game, you've got that catapult just to kind of mix it up a little bit.
It really does set the tone, because you do try to... Okay, I tried to put that one spot in the worst possible area for them.
I think most people try and do that. Maybe on your first time you try and be nice, but the second time you definitely try and be like, I'm going to try and make it really tricky for them.
And the good part is it can't really mess you up that much.
No.
It'll just make you pivot.
Yes.
It's just enough player interaction and doesn't feel like take that, really.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I do really like this game. Like we said earlier, I played this game the first time at the Big Game Bash recently, and I played it several times over that weekend.
She did.
And every time I played it, we played it with different people, and we'll start to play it, and they're like, okay, we finished the game. They're like, all right, let's play it again. And it ended up we'd play it 2 or 3 times just because people really enjoyed it. It was really fun. I do like how you can play it at that smaller play count, but also I think it's a great game for a larger family count too. Like, if you have a family event, like at Thanksgiving, this is a great one to pull out and play.
We actually had a party the other night, and we had people sitting in our living room, and my wife just all of a sudden is like, we're going to play Chateau. And what's great is you cannot, instead of passing a circle, you kind of exchange with the person next to you. If you guys are all sitting on the couch or whatever. I feel like this has kind of a silver and gold feel.
Yes.
I do like silver and gold. I like this one too. This plays a little bit larger. We did laminate ours because we are going to use it. So this is definitely one to take a look at. You can learn it in like 5 minutes and it plays in like 10.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So take a look at this. This is recommended by us. This is Chateau by Rolling Rhino Games.
I love this game.
Okay, so now we'll take a look at Koala Rescue Club. This is by Postmark Games that actually made Voyages and Scribbly Gum. And this is by a very little-known designer named Phil Walker Harding.
Oh, I know that name.
Yeah, this is the first game he's done. No, really, this has some pedigree behind it, and it's very cute about koalas. So before we go into what we thought about the game, let's see how it's played. Okay, we are set up for a game of Koala Rescue Club here. You can play this with one player or you can play this with multiple players. We normally do it with everybody, so everybody's going to get one of these sheets. This is placed inside of a menu cover. You could also laminate it or just use the papers. So the point of this game is to plant trees and rehome koalas. And it's played over 2 rounds. You'll notice you have all around 1, then you're going to score that, then around 2, and then you're going to score that. Now, how do you play? Well, it's pretty much placing polyominoes. Somebody's going to roll a die, and then you're going to place these shapes into one of your areas here. At the beginning, you could only use area 1 until these sky bridges, or bridge, yeah, I guess they're called sky bridges, are open to allow you to go to different areas. So here's what's happened. First off, we're going to roll and say we roll a 5. So we look down and a 5 is this shape right here. So we're going to take that and we're going to circle each of these just like this. And there we go. We have circled that and that has planted the trees. All right. So like I said, on your turn, you can either plant trees or you can rehome koalas. You cannot do both. Okay. So now we roll again and a 5. Okay. Well, that's perfect. A 5, I could then draw another. I could plant these trees. I can again swivel this so I could maybe circle this one, this one, this one, and this one and plant those trees if I want to. Or I can rehome koalas. And there you go to where you have got the trees planted. So I circle the center just like this. So that would rehome the koalas. You really circle the koalas. So these koalas have been rehomed. All right, so you're going to keep going just like this. Oh, one thing I did forget to do is when you roll your first 5, you're going to write a 5 here. And then I rolled that second 5, so I write the second 5 here. So then on the third turn, you're going to roll again and say this is a 6. You're going to take 6, place it here, and then you're going to take this shape and put it anywhere you can. So say I want to go ahead and do it here. I'm going to go ahead and do these trees right here. There we go. All right. So you keep going like that. And as you try to rehome all the koalas in the area. Now, one thing to mention is, like I said, you can only rehome or you can plant trees. So if I were to roll a 2, I could not rehome this koala and plant this tree here. I had to choose either one or the other. Also, if you cannot use this shape right here, or you choose not to, you can then circle one. You can either circle a tree or circle one koala instead. Okay, let's go through some of the other things that do show up here. For example, volunteers. You start off with 1 volunteer here. You can use that volunteer at any point to add plus or minus 1 to your die to make it go up or down 1. It does circle around, so 1 becomes a 6, 6 becomes a 1, etc. But then also you're going to notice rewards right here at the top and the sides. So what happens there is if you fill up, say I filled up this right here, I've got all 3 of these koalas, then I get this shape right here, which this means I then get to circle a tree. So I'll go over here and circle this tree. Now if I were to do this, get all the koalas in here, not just the trees, get all the koalas in here, I get another koala that I can circle somewhere, for example, here. And now these right here. These, the medical symbols. Once I would get this, I would then circle one of these. Say I'd circle this one. And if I get the second one later, then I'm going to get 1 point when we score the round. Then this right here gives you another volunteer. And then this right here, if you were to get this, well, this one then activates that sky bridge. And now you can start to plant trees or rehome koalas in Area B. Okay, one other thing to mention here is there's some merit badges here. For example, this one, Koala Carer, rehome all koalas in Area 1. Now, as soon as you finish one of these numbers here, if anyone has achieved one of these, they just say, hey, I got it. And they're going to get the first number. All right, and then everybody else is going to mark that off. And if you achieve it, you're going to get the second number. So only one person can get the first value there. Okay, so now let's go into scoring. So scoring here is, if you finished all of these, here's how you score. You're going to score it for every section that you have all the trees filled. Like say I have all the trees here, I'm going to score 1 point. So if I got, say I got these 2 right here with trees, there we go. Now for every section that you have completely filled the koalas all circled, then you're going to get 1 point as well. So if I have this one just koalas, I'd get 1 there. You're going to score your different points from all your medical tents that are completed. You're going to put that here. So if I did get this one, I'd go there. And then that would score me my 4 points. And then for round 2, you're going to do the exact same thing. And you're pretty much going to score these again. So you get to score your one that's full of trees, and you get to score your one that's full of koalas as well as your medical tents right over here that are complete. And then you're going to get your total. You're going to take your round 1 total plus round 2 total plus all these merit badges, and that's going to be your total for the game that you compare to everyone else. So pretty much that's very quick and easy, but that is Koala Rescue Club. Okay, so that is how you play Koala Rescue Club.
Yes.
Yes, and you can tell it's very cute with the artwork.
I think this game is adorable.
It really is. And the whole thing is they mention the instructions, how he says how many you can play it with, a lot, and he goes into classroom. So you can tell this is made to be a family weight game.
Oh, absolutely. I do think this is one that, once again, at Thanksgiving time, this is a great game to play with your family.
Yeah, exactly. So it's polyomino again, but I think what's interesting about this is the fact that you have to kind of, polyomino is a Tetris style game, but you have to lay those polyominoes twice.
Yes, that was interesting at first. At first I looked at this and was like, oh, you mark a tree, you get a koala. No, wrong. You have to do the tree, then the koala. Genius.
It's really good. And the fact that when you drop those polyominoes, you can either do one or the other. You can either plant trees or rescue koalas.
Yes.
So you have to hit those exactly. So there will be times where it's like, I've got just this little part here I've got to rescue, but I can't overlap because you just can't. You can do one or the other.
I know. There was one time when I had one section and I just had one koala that had to be rescued. It was a little frustrating.
It is. But then you've also got those bonuses.
Oh, yes.
Where then you can plant a tree or rescue a koala.
Yes.
And those save you a lot.
I do like that cascading. Once you complete a row or a column, you do get that kind of, as you say, the bonuses. I did really like that. That made it really nice.
I do too. And I start crossing the bonuses off, of course, after you do it. Otherwise, you start to cascade and then you start losing where you are. But then the interesting decisions on, do you kind of fill it up with trees, each section, use those sky bridges, or do you go back and hit koalas? Because once you get koalas, you also score that area twice, but then you also get those bonuses. Because the bonuses only score if you have koalas in the entire row.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I know it's an interesting dilemma.
It is.
It's a good dilemma.
And then you also rush towards those merit badges too.
Yes.
Do you want to rush? Because those are worth quite a bit of points.
I know, yes.
You know? And then the fact that some of those things score twice, like your Area A will score twice if you get it done early, to score in round 1 and round 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really good. And I love this. It's a great game, I think, and I think it is family weight.
Yes, I would completely agree with that. Yeah.
So again, so this is recommended too by Phil Walker Harding. Very cute.
Adorable.
With koalas.
Aww.
So these are a couple games that you can print and play this week. All right, I'm Joy Evans.
I'm Alex Evans.
And we'll see you later on the channel.
Bye.
Hey folks, thanks for joining us for that video. If you haven't yet, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hey, make sure you check out what's happening, where I'll cover an app on an iOS or a Switch device, and you can check it out along with me. Thanks very much. You've been watching The Dice Tower.